All right, welcome back. The Between Stars and Suns, Season 2, Episode 3. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. I believe we were smack dab in the middle of day phase, if I remember correctly from last time. But let's go ahead and ask our hunters what they remember from last session. Like a small recap, like imagining a scene as it plays out in the beginning of the episode.
Well, Ernest has spent a very long time standing in the corner of Orrin Blackwood's grimy little studio apartment, just watching him frantically write because I'm curious as to how this magnificent work is coming along.
Meanwhile, during the night phase, Finn made good on his promise to return to Miss Belmont, and so he returned to the shop for a gorgeous bespoke suit. There were some words exchanged between the two of them, some pleasantries, some night moves, but Finn came out on top. And for his for his I guess his what's the word I want to use for his connection that he made with Miss Beaumont. He ended up escorting her two servants, the Sandula sisters, back to Hargrave House for a little romp. In the morning, which Atticus found. Atticus, after being informed by D.I. Pettigrew about Fig's pigs and the Fig family, Finn ended up chasing away D.I. Pettigrew when he arrived on scene wearing nothing but an unbuttoned shirt and one of the Sandula sisters' satin gloves around his nether regions, thus calling it the Love Glove. And we last saw him. I think he's still inspecting Miss Beaumont's atelier, and he was trying to get to the basement, but he ended up noticing this very handsome Italian man sort of wandering the street in a kind of daze. But I think he fell unconscious, and in an effort to make sure he was safe and secure, Finn hid him in a pile of garbage.
Meanwhile, Dame Georgie and Atticus and T.I. Pettigrew made some new friends at, I think it was the Peacock Society. We learned that Atticus has minimal people skills when he doesn't really respect them. And while D.I. Pettigrew was asking pointless police questions, the Blue Feather Society, thank you. Dame Georgie actually spoke with people while Atticus just kind of attuned to the room and smelled out the clues. Once they were politely asked to leave, and they did, Atticus saw an agent of the mastermind who said a particular phrase that snapped him out of his reverie. And Dame Georgie and Atticus had a quiet moment of reflection before finding a pattern with some mysterious symbols upon it. Cutting to the next morning, and after D.I. Pettigrew's rather hasty exit, there was an encounter where Atticus and Dame Georgie looked at a magical mirror that Dame Georgie was having trouble getting a clear connection, and Atticus got a clear connection of some guy with an axe that is specifically hunting Atticus now. So we'll get to that, I guess. And that's where we left them off. Oh, also, Atticus delivered breakfast. Some people ate it, some people didn't.
So if I recall correctly, Sir Atticus, you were going to be headed over with D.I. Pettigrew. You were originally going to head over to the apothecary that he was headed to, but I think Spin might have frightened him off with the show of virility, I would imagine. So I don't know if that leaves you at loose ends. And then Finn, you were at the basement back door of the shop, and
trying to get into the basement.
Trying to get into the basement. So we'll pick up from there. And Ernest, it's like, I imagine at some point this morning, early this morning, what have you, I think you finally made your way away from Orrin Blackwood's dingy flat. What would you like to be doing?
I think after Ernest is done maliciously rearranging things while his back is turned, he, completely invisible, therefore completely buck naked, will just roam towards the streets of London, and was, before he was interrupted, heading to the Madame Beaumont's shop to be outfitted with some finery. So maybe we'll head off into a inconspicuous alleyway and don another mask, maybe a fox mask today, reassemble myself into the peerage, and go for a stroll.
Just to verify, do we want to hold off on trying to answer the spider silk seamstress, or were we aiming for that 8? Because Atticus just wants to get the creature's true name and inflict violence upon it.
Finn would like to try and barter with her.
Okay.
Of course he would.
I'm up to negotiations, ideas. That is where Finn is.
If I
Ernst,
will say, if
if
you
you-
are aiming for the 8, just remember, it's like, you have bargain choices that are listed there, but those are also suggestions.
Mhm.
You don't have to necessarily go exactly with one of those things.
Okay.
You would just have to tell me, using the clues, what kind of bargain you're trying to strike with Hazel Beaumont. Okay.
Well,
If that's the one you want to do.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So, Ernest, do you have a preference in terms of how we engage with spooky spider lady?
Well, I don't know if Ernest knows entirely that she is a spooky spider lady yet, but going back to investigate it, I'm all for hitting the high notes on that question and going for the big 8.
Maybe it's something where you can finagle, I don't know, some kind of vital play with doing so. So this way, something happens where Atticus gets to beat something up, and then Finn also gets to strike a bargain. There's several different ways I'm sure that you can handle this. So
Yeah.
don't feel
But-
like you're limited, except in trying to contextualize. So just wanted
Yeah.
to make that clear. All right.
So if it's the 8, we have 10 clues. We probably need a couple more before we feel confident in trying to theorize. So
And you don't have to use every single one, so
Yeah,
That's the
it's
best-
nice
that's
to
the
have
best-
cushion,
that's the best part.
Was there one that I feel like we had a +4 and we just about made it? I can't remember. There was something that just pops out at me like, so much and yet so little rolled. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, so I almost want to say that by the time that Ernest makes his way to Savile Row, Ernest, do you think that you try, since it's daytime, do you think you go in through the front door and like a regular shop front? Or do you like peruse some of the other shops on Savile Row as well?
I think it's an entire lazy shopping expedition. Window shopping, popping in here and there, maybe a new hat before I finally make it to her shop.
Okay. All right, because I want to say that there is also, again, other shops on this street. So you wouldn't necessarily, unless that was exactly what you were gunning for, you could conceivably go into someone else's shop. There is a textile merchant by the name, or I should say there's a textile shop, because you see all the different fabrics draped enticingly out in their window. Not as of spectacular pattern as described with Hazel Beaumont's stuff, of course, but still of fine quality and design. And this particular shop is called the Woven Tale. And it seems to be run by a Charles Worthington Esquire. I don't know if the Esquire is actually being used. I'm just doing that as a fancy thing. Sorry. But anyway, yes, I mean, like, that you can see this shop displaying their wares. Do you think you go in?
I think Ernest is a very tactile person and would have a hard time resisting some of the damask embroideries, and is going to want to touch, feel, and squeeze some of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to say that when you go into the shop, you see several patrons already going through and discussing things with shop assistants. And the great man himself, Charles Worthington, with like some slick backed hair, is talking with several clientele and advising upon, the different designs that he think would be very flattering for their particular figure or skin tone or what have you. Um, at this point, do you think that you're already dressed? Like you're already, um,
Yes, I
okay,
would have donned my clothes. I am visible in the way that everybody can see this outfit walking around.
what is your particular outfit to go with your
I
fox mask?
I think that there is a huge, and in fact, maybe 2 or 3 cravats worth of fabric around the neck in a very sort of like splendid floof, but mostly a practical tying so people cannot see the skin that is invisible on the back of my neck and throat
Mhm.
into a, high collar, fashionably cut dark suit, but nothing flamboyant. Perhaps there is an interesting texture or pattern in the actual weave of the fabric of the suit, but it's fairly dark and nondescript.
Obviously, he picks you out, right away as he sees you come in, and you see his twinkling blue eyes suddenly gleam at you, noticing like what you're wearing as a prospect for his wares, and he excuses himself from his current companions and then sidles over to you in the most deliberate manner. I think you smell him before you actually get to see him bow in front of you. He has a quite overpowering cologne. Ah, a discerning character. Well, as you can see, I am full on with different fabrics and textures, perfect for overlaying in such a beauteous and well appointed manner as yourself, sir. Is there anything that I can interest you in looking at, or touching, or enjoying? Please come forth.
Ernest finds the obsequious nature of this man to be extremely off-putting, as he reminds him very particularly of a stagehand that never really knew his place and was always aspiring to be more director than practical instrument. And so I think Ernest takes a very snide tone and says, I don't think there is anything that I need from you. I just admired your window and thought that a few yards of something here or there I might bring to a seamstress across the road.
A, a seamstress. You wouldn't be talking about Beaumont, would you?
I've heard that her thread work, her embroidery, is practically invisible to the naked eye.
I'm sure she does well at what she purports to be fine handiwork. But, I mean, her fabrics have nothing on what I can provide here.
Well,
I
yes,
don't know how.
obviously. That is why I'm here buying from you, and then I'm going to go over there, and she is going to build me a very... Honestly, sir, do you have some opinion of this woman I should know about?
I just think that she is capable of what we would call in the business a cheap trick. Her, f- her fabrics are of some described as some otherworldly effect with the shimmering manner, but I think it's just some sort of show. I think it's a little bit of the lighting and her designs. Well, I mean, they are they are forthcoming. They seem quite forward. Um, But, well, let's just say that I can be base enough to bear a grudge. She dismisses my wares as being inadequate for her needs. But if you desire a design by Ms. Beaumont, and you believe my fabrics to be up to your standard, then please, by all means, see what there is to offer, because there is much to offer here.
Ernest is going to reach out and finger the fabric of the proprietor's suit and try not to recoil at the scent that is bound to linger on his fingers. Lean forward and ask, what is it that you're not saying, sir? You have the look of somebody who is holding and biting their tongue, and I would prefer truth from the proprietors I purchase from.
I would ask that you roll
Mm-hmm.
information
Definitely
move.
was aiming for information, yeah.
Absolutely. Information move with, I'm going to say presence. You're trying to,
Delightful.
you're trying to beat his
Influencing the
personality.
stature and
Sure.
social and all that. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll do my dice roll with me today. That's a 9 plus 2 is 11.
Nice. All right, let me come back to you. All
Mhm.
right, let's go over to Atticus. Where did you say that you were going to be going?
Apothecary.
All right.
Pettigrew may be there. Pettigrew may not be there, but either way,
Yeah,
it's a
he
decent
scribbled
place
at
to get
the.
clues.
I remembered that. Yes, I remembered that he had scribbled out the address for you quite hurriedly as he was trying to avoid looking at the site that Mr. Quickley presented.
Hey, it caught his eye, so
Oh,
I
it
mean,
did.
if Buddy needs to ask for details later, then that's on him. But
oh yes, absolutely. So I think you approach this apothecary shop. And it's kind of a nondescript place. It doesn't necessarily stand out from some other businesses that are on the street, but it is nearby the Savile Row district and Hazel Beaumont's shop in particular.
okay.
All right. So it does have an elegant gold trimmed facade, tall windows lit by filigree lanterns, and rows of glass and ceramic jars loom over a dark stained counter. There is a gilded green sign in lettering, a gilded green sign lists treatments and remedies for those chasing youth. Glasses. Chasing youth or staving off the inevitable. So paint the scene for everyone. What Victorian, what modern afflictions are treated here? What remedies only offer false promises?
What diseases were big during like the late 1800s, I guess?
Well, earlier, remember, you season 1 was jonesing for late in Victoria's life. We're aiming more for her middle age.
So like 1830s, like tuberculosis is like still big during that time.
Sure.
Um,
That nasty little cough that nobody can seem to get rid of.
yeah, like once you get it. The question was, what diseases do they get cures from, and which ones are just not actual cures?
Yeah, what modern afflictions are treated here, and what remedies only offer false promises.
I mean, I don't know if this would be era appropriate, but I'm going to say they have these silver bracelets that are meant to be worn to essentially balance out any kind of hysterias or mental maladies. It's told by the apothecary, what would apothecary is what he would called?
Yeah.
Apothecarius, that the purity of the silver is really what does the trick, and the vibrations that it aligns with will cure you of any kind of mental ails.
I think they sell a variety of teas that you're supposed to boil and then breathe in the fumes to try and at least alleviate the symptoms of tuberculosis.
While not knowing it was typhoid, many people have been struck with a rash and just terrible bowels, and they are instructed to eat nothing but figs and fruits. And then occasionally there's this like salve they're supposed to put on their rash, but is actually just the eggs of chickens in order to try and alleviate and soothe some of the irritation.
And so you enter this shop and see these things, the board listing these cures or remedies for some of these afflictions. And there is a chemist behind the counter in his stained apron with a very bright smile and a crisp white collar. And he moves around a lot as he's dispensing with certain remedies or pointing out some of the things that people are looking for. But when you notice that when he stands still, he still fidgets as if he wants to be on the move.
Okay. How to approach this? I'm Atticus. What am I talking about?
Yes.
Good day. Just approach the countertop.
Yes. You are looking for something useful? What shall I say that you are needing a cure or a remedy?
I am trying to find a particularly rare ingredient, the likes of which I had been told that you are the sole purveyor for. And I will slide out the note for the rare and unusual ingredient that will remain unspecified for this conversation and say, you seem like the sort of expert that would be able to get this sort of material, yes?
Yes, but this is actually a note that I wrote for this. I was unable to secure it.
Well, yes, when you wrote the note, and clearly a man of your skill and capabilities hasn't been able to get the ingredient, yes?
Yes, I mean...
Good, wonderful. Then I would like an entire shipment of it, if you could. A couple of samples. I have a project that is being worked on. You are familiar with Lady Beaumont down the way?
Yes. She has been known to ask me for certain things. Yes.
This being one of them, I assume. Yes. I'm glad we have a mutual acquaintance then.
I am always out to provide what my customers demand, of course. Let me see if we have anything here in our inventory. You want this specific thing, yes?
One of a couple of things, but that one specifically is the most important, so I heard.
I see. All right. Let me take a look. And while you are waiting while I do this, are you interested in anything else? Possibly something to lift your spirits? A fresh cocaine tonic, maybe, or pills, if you prefer.
Tobacco, American.
Oh, discerning.
Yes, it's the only one that tastes right.
Interesting. That is actually rare in itself. Most people think that American tobacco is, well, shit.
Tell me where else you can possibly get it from that has the same color, the same texture, the same sort of wild spirit that an American tobacco has.
He nods and then he goes back to looking through his inventory. Go ahead and roll me, or unless there's something that you wanted to do.
Nope, I just want to see if while this guy's distracted getting the super shady ingredients, if there's anything I can pick up as being super suspect.
Okay. Let me see. Do you want him to tell you of anything interesting, or are you going to be looking around the shop while he's looking up what he has?
Looking around the shop. Atticus is similar to Ernest in being very tactile, very physical, this is a shiny clue that I can pocket. Mads, this is who the man
I know.
is.
Oh my gosh. So I can't promise every label has pictures. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Atticus has been out in the field. He's used to folk remedies while
That's
being
true.
on a hunt.
Yeah.
This isn't his first go round. Otherwise,
That's true.
he respects this guy more than the people at the Blue Feather Society because he knows what he's dealing with.
Yeah, no, that's true. Okay, so go ahead and then roll with reason for this.
Oh,
I know you're very unreasonable.
I'm very unreasonable.
The only reason I would say do vitality is if you're upending things, please don't do that in this shop. Please don't.
As long as I'm not opening jars and just tasting things
Oh my god. In which case I would tag you for vitality because it's you're
do you want me to roll those this is the difference between a 0 and a 3. If I commit the social faux pas of taking free samples around the apothecary.
Oh my god. Oh,
there's a number of consequences you can inflict upon me.
I know. And it's it just verges from information move to day move at this point because I'm just
no, I
running
want
a
to get
risk.
clues. I want to get clues. I'll take the reason for the information move if that's the
Okay.
case.
Okay.
Heck yeah. That's an 8.
Okay.
Not the best in the world, but it'll do. Complication, either clue or encounter.
All right, and then Finn. Yeah, we'll resolve all this as soon as I get through everybody. Finn, you are outside this basement door. I think I didn't have you roll yet, did I?
You had me roll investigation, and that's why I found the hot Italian.
Yes, you found the hot Italian. Yeah, he's not awake yet. I'm gonna just have you roll again just because.
Yeah, that's fine. Is this with composure or?
Yes, because it's you're essentially trying to be sneaky.
Let me see if I want to use something because I think I might. Yeah, I'm gonna take. I brought some needles with me, not necessarily the thread, but the needles to kind of act as a lockpick.
Oh, nice. Okay,
so I'm gonna use that.
I'll accept that.
And do I have disadvantage for my mesmerized condition?
Yes, because you're trying to break into her shop.
All right, so it's a flat roll. That's a very large 3. No, 2.
Oh my god! What the devil? Oh my god! All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and mark a mask.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Are you marking one that requires a narration or marking the one?
No, I'm just gonna mark the cosmic passage, which allows me to either raise my sensitivity or my reason by 1.
Okay. So 7 to 9, there's a complication either with the clue itself or a complication you encounter while searching. And Keeper will tell you what the complication is. All right. For this 7 to 9, though, I'm going to say, yeah, you make it inside using your little needles, hearing the click of the lock. And you find yourself going down these stairs, and inside is a very oddly placed indoor garden. It's growing wild enough that the roots and vines are twisting eagerly around this antique furniture that seems to be here. That is your clue. Oddly placed indoor garden grown wild, roots and vines twisting eagerly around antique furniture. And Down here, you will see beyond the furniture what looks like several figures, their backs to you, facing inside, facing towards the inside of this garden. And we are going to go back and address Ernest. Ernest's role. All right, and this is for Spider Silk. I'm trying to find something that would be appropriate that he would be hiding from you. Let's see.
Something that would be socially inappropriate to say to a customer, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's just do something very, very strange. You know, as you're fingering his suit and making it quite plain that you want to know what he's hiding, he invites you to come back behind the counter under the pretext of looking at more elaborate designs than the suit that he's wearing. Yes. You might be interested in the rare Bengal silk that has the printed lilies on it, he's saying out loud to the world at large, but he's kind of signaling to you to come behind the counter.
Ernest is also interested in the Bengal silks with lilies on it.
Yes, which he will pull out again as a pretext for getting you behind there. But as he's showing you and having you feel this material, which he has like a very generous bolt of, by the way, he will whisper to you, maybe it's a good thing that she deems my work not good enough for her designs. The last person that had used my cloth for something that she made bespoke found something very strange inside the bespoke suit. And the next day, he was dead. It's so strange, I don't even know if I should even say anything. It's too odd for words. I didn't even want to tell. Well, who would I tell? Do you really want to hear this?
Ernest gingerly places a reassuring hand somewhere near this man's shoulder and says, "It's best you tell me so you have someone to speak this truth to."
They found inside the pocket. Or actually, no, it wasn't even a pocket. It wasn't something that looked like it was supposed to be found. I felt a lump underneath, like a sewn-in square.
Inside the lining?
Inside the lining, yes. It was a vial that had tiny spider husks, tiny bundled herbs, and what looked like a patch of bloated human skin.
How absolutely chilling.
Isn't it?
And yet, I'm sorry, I'm Ernest Marit-Savage. I'm something of, well, in the theater. And this sort of thing is just too sensational.
It is.
I couldn't have imagined it myself.
I couldn't even imagine it being inside the lining of clothing. Why? What would the purpose be? And when I thought to even look to ask, she dismissed me the next day. Said she had no use for my fabrics. Inadequate. Not special for her work. And then she came out with the new line, I suppose, of the shimmering effect. Something.
Well, my good man, I do appreciate you. Well, I see why you pulled me aside, but your truthfulness is appreciated, and as I am, well, always in favor of someone being earnest, I would like 3 bolts of this and 5 bolts of that, and if you could, I need an entire, and then we'll continue on a shopping spree.
He will be so joyous looking, but in the midst of doing so, he will as he's excitedly getting his assistants to pull the bolts and then give you what you need, he will say, "And will you be finding someone else to put together this ensemble for you, sir? If you do take these fabrics to Ms. Beaumont, are you not worried about something being found amongst your person, hidden in the clothes?"
I appreciate your warnings and your concern, and I would also appreciate you constructing silk pajamas of this delightful pattern. The lilies will just be excellent. But I may still explore an option, but it is none of your concern. I can take care of myself.
As you wish, as you wish. And he continues to have his shop assistants pulling all together all the bolts that you need. All right. For funsies, I'm going to say that in your personal quarters, you can include a bolt of fine fabric, whether it be the Bengal silk lilies or something else of some extraordinary pattern. That's up to you, but you can include a bolt of fabric.
I thoroughly intend this man to make me a Bengal silk lily pajama set, but yes, I will put that in my quarters.
This would be outside of the ensemble that'll be made, of sure. Absolutely. Okay. And then Atticus over at the apothecary. Something that you find while you are out there. It would serve you right that if I made you taste a sealed jar of spider husk.
We specifically said I wasn't touching anything. I was on my best behavior.
Got it. But it would just be, well,
it would 100% be that, but it would also bump me up to an 11.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. I'm like, oh my god.
Don't worry. There will be plenty of opportunity for Atticus to taste strange and interesting things as the night phase rolls on.
Oh yes, absolutely. Holy cow. I think as you're going around his shop, I think you're seeing, now remember, it's kind of fairly dimly lit. I mean, aside from the big display window, there's not a whole heck of a lot of light coming in here because of the dark interior and all of the jars and shelves, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think as you're going around and you are seeing certain things here, jars, and picking up and looking at things, not tasting, but you're just looking, I think you're going to start seeing curious silver spider webs appearing in strange places. Like one is right on a shelf, almost as if it's kind of hemming some certain jars in. Another one is on the floor, just flat on the floor. People have stepped here. You were just behind several people that had stepped here, but the spider web is intact. And then maybe on the wall as part of a display, looking appropriate and yet not, because it's spider web. And it's delicate and gossamer, but definitely shines of silver. That is your clue. Curious silver spider webs appearing in unlikely places.
And my complication?
Your complication is, do you pick them up or do you
Oh yeah, 100%.
Gotcha. Are you wearing gloves?
No, not on the job. Or I'm not on the job right now. So yes, he picks it up with his bare hands.
As you pick up one of the spider webs or take it off of the shelf, whatever, in doing so, you feel a sharp sting. And when you turn your palm over, you see in the middle of one of the spider webs is a beautiful silver spider. And it crawls, as you watch, it crawls from the palm of your hand to the back of your hand. And then when you turn your hand over, it's gone.
Oh no.
There is a serious red welt starting to form on your palm.
It's a good thing I'm in an apothecary's office. Hey, doc.
You have a salve for this?
Sir, garçon, excuse me. Yeah, so I am totally happy spending the rest of my day phase getting this looked at by an apothecary and getting a salve or something.
Right. Oh, do I make this weird? No, I don't know if I can or not.
You just gave me a silver spider that disappeared, like pulled a disappearing act in front of me. And it is definitely tied to creepy spider lady. I'm a little paranoid right now. But...
call your condition Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Oh no.
And as you take this over to the, I can see Atticus like holding his one hand with his other hand.
This guy comes back with like a bundled package of this rare, expensive ingredient,
and just looking at you like, let me go over to Finn. Okay. Finn, you find yourself in this garden, below stairs, basically. And again, there are 3 figures with their backs to you, like looking into the garden. What do you do?
What kind of figures are they?
They look like they're wearing robes of the shimmery fabric. The shimmer is not as bright as your particular suit. But then again, there's not that much light down here. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 basement windows that like some light is trying to sneak in, but yeah.
I mean, his whole MO is to be as stealthy as possible. So I think he's just going to try and sneak around to get a vantage point to see who it is.
Yeah, I think as you make your way around and making yourself as stealthy as possible, you see that the 3 figures are dressed in robes, and all of their countenance looks like desiccated. Like you can see like their skin is like papery looking and thin and dry. And in their eye sockets and their nose and their open gaping mouths, there are fine spider webs covering them. They all seem to be looking down, though, at what you see on a table, a low table in the middle of this garden. And what you see, there seems to be blood red roses wrapped up in a fine silk scarf. And they have a strange shimmer to them, almost as if Hazel Beaumont's fabric has been made into these roses. But that, to mundanes, could be impossible. Did you close the door when you came down here?
Yeah, I mean, he would have, closed it, but not like locked it or anything like that.
I think from outside, from where you are standing, you can hear from above. You can hear someone kind of knocking on the door and saying, "Hello? Hello? I am so sorry. I am lost. Can anyone..."
Is that my hot Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I quickly dash towards the door, and when I get there, I just sort of like push his face out with my hand and then very carefully try to close the door behind me and like press my back against it, keeping him there.
Oh, goodness. Ah, yes, I'm so sorry to disturb you, Signore. I have been wandering this street. I've been trying to get back to my family's cafe, and I have no idea where I am.
And where is your family's cafe?
And he gives you an address, which is like right on the outside of Savile Row on a different street. And it is known to be a small espresso cafe. So, and they have like some baked goods and such that they serve there as well.
Yeah, I will I'll hook my arm under his and say, well, fret not, I am nothing if not a gentleman. And when we're walking away, he'll kind of notice like a piece of like tomato in his hair, just sort of pluck it out and toss it. Oh, nothing. It's just a bug.
Per favor, yes. And he will smile at you with a 1,000-kilowatt smile with beautiful straight teeth, and he will bring you to his family's cafe. And yeah, so we are going to close that out for day phase. Looking at everybody.
Did I
gonna
get
say-
a complication or a condition from the from bumping up the mask, or
Hold on. Let's see. No, not yet.
don't leave me hanging, man.
Well, because
No, it's fine. I'm totally into it.
I mean, no, well, there's probably going to be something down the line, I will say. I'm just not gonna like put it on you just yet, because I mean, like, you've stumbled upon some certain things that could have an effect on you later, so and I'm assuming you are wearing now your bespoke suit.
I didn't go out in it, but
Okay.
I will, yeah.
Okay.
But I'll wear it in the night phase.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at dusk phase. All right. So Explorer's not here today. Chaotic is enjoying gaming elsewhere, and that's cool. All right. And yeah, for some reason, like I guess we have to mark off that the American is no longer. Otherwise, it just appears in the character keeper. But aside from that, okay. So now let's go over to Hargrave House. What would be appropriate for today? Since we were looking at a garden earlier, let's go to the gardens at Hargrave House. The gardens. Being in this space is like being totally disconnected from the stink and grime of London. Is that reassuring to you, or does it make you feel uncomfortable? Why? And go ahead and remember to put your answers in rooms at Hargrave House.
For Finn, I think it's uncomfortable, not because he necessarily prefers the grime of London, but at least the grime of London is real, it's authentic. And this garden here is a pathetic approximation of the kind of greenery he's used to. He comes from a place where, trees talk and flowers grow wild and live and die in the span of a minute. This is unimpressive to him. And I think that he resents it.
I think that Ernest is also uncomfortable in this place of green and the clean air. He's never been one for the country. He lives in the muck. So even the faint, like, horseshit, smoke-filled London somehow brings him into the viscera of what he is trying to write and the people he is trying to capture. And so the flowers seem pretty enough, but he would prefer them in a bouquet in the wings than in this particular setting.
I think it is comforting for Atticus. Somebody clearly took their time and fought against the regular muck and mire of London and created something beautiful here. And that it still stands despite all of that shows that they took their time, and they built something that outlasted them, whoever they were.
All right. So given that, each player says what their hunter will be doing during the upcoming night phase. Or do you want to, before to determine what you will be doing, do you want to answer the question? Plenty of
Yes.
clues.
Yes, please.
So let's go over what we have for Spider Silk Seamstress. I realized that the last clue didn't quite make it onto there, so I added it. So you have 13 clues for complexity 8. Yeah. All right. So folded love letter on imported paper, crimson silk corset interior with thorns, gloves with hooks, severed hand desiccated with a wedding ring on it, a trail of finely tailored clothing cast away without care, spider webs decorating a candelabra, a book of fairy tales with comments and corrections in an unknown language. Moonlight brightly lingers on a specific path. A letter of apology from an apothecary. A rare and unusual ingredient is no longer available. Patterns with an unusual language written on it. A hot Italian lost behind Savile Row. An oddly placed indoor garden grown wild. Roots and vines twisting eagerly around antique furniture. A vial of spider husks, herbs, and patch of human skin sewn into the lining of one of Beaumont's commissions, and the person dropping dead the following day. And finally, curious silver spider webs appearing in unlikely places. So yeah, on a complexity 8, that question is, what does the creature truly want? Resolve the threat by striking a bargain with the creature in accordance with ancient Fae customs. Ask the hunters what it is, or you can choose. So there is a list of choices, or you can make up your own. So what do you think?
Did you want to go first, Sarah, or did you want me to go first?
Well, let's just pitch both and see where we land. I
right.
have a keen theory that Miss Beaumont is creating something of a Stepford situation in which she is killing people and replacing them with some sort of doppelganger or Fae alternative. The means and or reason, happy to hash that out with all of you.
My theory would be for the complexity 8, what does the creature truly want? And I think that Miss Beaumont truly wants to go home. I think that she's been stuck here. And I think, again, I can go over the clues that I think sort of support this, but I think that she is here sort of, going through the paces, but she needs help going back home.
I will take the middle road and say that she tried and failed to go back home, or she was banished. So she's doing her best to make things beautiful here. Unfortunately, people can't really withstand that very well. So she's taken to replacing them with the doppelgangers. That might be a good synthesis of the two.
Yeah, I can dig it.
For sure.
I don't necessarily have as much of a setup for the clues, but I do have sort of a clues that would support like a ritual that would open things up. And my idea is to Fae's love making deals. So if we exchange her for another kind of creature, bring it back into the world, and then let Atticus go what?
Okay.
My idea, though, to open up this portal is that, like any good ritual, the most powerful ingredient is blood. That's where the corset with the thorns and the hook gloves come in. Those are instruments of ritual. And what blood is better for the Fae to use than the blood of beautiful people? So we would have to sacrifice the hot Italian.
Maybe he's just the latest in a series of sacrifices, which is why we have the vial of spider husks and a guy literally dropping dead the next day.
Mm-hmm.
There might be like a vital essence that she's trying to collect bit by bit.
Yeah. And I think that the love letter is possibly from, like, the imported paper is imported paper from the Fae realm. And I think the love letter is from her, maybe her beloved back there. and she sort of keeps that as like a token to remind her of the end goal, which is to get back home to find them.
Let's make it a little bit more grimy. Maybe they sent their hand with the wedding ring just as a reminder of like, I'm dedicated to this. Okay, all right.
I like that. Do you have anything, Sarah?
I'm reframing a little bit. So is Miss Beaumont, in trying to get back and open this portal again and choosing to influence London, trying to collect people and things that might help her influence this ritual? Or is it like a specific kind of blood? Is it a specific kind of person that she's hunting for that she doesn't know what she needs? So would in fact it's the finely tailored clothing without care and the unknown languages and these fabrics and things like that. I want to think that she's trying to literally weave spells around these people, and much like a spider is draining the life from them to try and fuel this gateway or this portal.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot, because I mean, like the finely tailored clothing could be of these people that she's already kind of used up.
Yeah.
Like, it's since it's not having really anything to do with her shop, then it's their clothing that has been kind of cast aside, and now they're wearing the patterns with the unusual language on it. And so therefore she is able to kind of make that part of the ritual. And then if you want to say the curious silver spider webs kind of like being like once she's gotten their essence, it's like that's what's covering their orifices, I guess, maybe.
Or it's marking the place that they were taken from, and then also again we see it with the bodies.
Sure.
Consumed.
What if the outfits are how she's gathering the energy? It's sort of a set it and forget it sort of thing. And then once somebody is dead, it creates like that little like takeaway vial. And then she just stops, gets it, and then just leaves a husk of a person behind.
Or what if those clothes are made from people?
Excuse me. All
Those
right.
spiders are able to digest people into creating this thread. Like these are not natural spiders. And so like all of these clothes that we're finding are these people that she's tried to use. And like part of the ritual is, maybe the spider webs with decorated candelabra, maybe those are spider webs that belong to these spiders that have to devour the ritual offering. But because these other subjects just weren't suitable for her, they were digested and turned into clothing by her. It's sort of like a,
So the iridescent thread. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the iridescent thread and the shimmering fabric that Miss Beaumont is creating is essentially discarded
into
humans extruded into a fairy thread. Yes.
Yeah.
There's two kinds of thread. There's common thread that she uses to make fabulous clothing, and then there's the good stuff that she keeps for her ritual that she's trying to weave into something that will let her go back home. And maybe there's other components, herbs, dyes, things that she has to weave into it that would lead her to have to grow it like in secret. There's very particular like growing conditions. Maybe the moonlight has to shine on a particular set of herb during like the night.
Maybe because she's been here so long, like it's starting to affect her brain. And so it's becoming more and more mundane. And so she's forgetting, forgetting pieces of the ritual, and that's why she's not able to like fully complete it. So I think that maybe like the unknown language in that book of fairy tales is probably notes on like maybe it's like a secret spell book or something like that.
Okay.
And maybe you have to, under the right moon or something like that, using the moonlight to like either illuminate it or maybe maybe like it has to be illuminated or something.
The apothecary doesn't have what she needs. She started growing it herself.
Oh, for the oddly placed in. Okay, I like that.
Okay, so who wants to do the full like one read summary of what this is, so that Mads has a clear idea of what we're pitching for.
We can do a 3-paragraph.
Yeah, we can with the whole thesis.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Invest the night
Need
for the
those
beginning and
footnotes.
keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what kind of bargain are you trying to strike?
To
According
open
with
up a
ancient Fey
passage-
customs. Okay.
To open up a passage and to
Mhm.
swap with another Fey creature, one that we don't care about getting
I mean,
destroyed.
do we each as characters get to strike bargains, or do we all have to agree on the same one? Because
Good point.
Ernest would be interested in some of this human consumption sort of lack of magic technology, whatever you want to call it, because distilling to the human essence is essentially what he does as a actor, and would really like to have some sort of magic insight into that. But
Maybe he could take some of those spiders and like make ink or something like that of them.
I'm loving that.
Yeah, but what if they're her babies? Oh my gosh.
She gets to leave some behind. There's like millions of them.
There are husks in vials. She's not
That's true.
emotionally attached to every.
It's true.
Like, we eat a lot of their young, Matt. It's okay.
I was just putting it out there. So I mean, like, of course, one of the suggestions is like opening up a passage. However, it includes one of the hunters going with her. I don't think that's the one you're going for.
I think we are.
Are
Wait,
you
who's-
going?
Wait, what? Who's going? Wait, what? What did I miss?
Atticus can go. He'll be able to fight all of the Fae on their home turf.
Yeah.
And then your hunter will retire without ever fighting the beast. Surely this is something that you would want, right, Mads? Huh? Mhm.
Woof.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. No closure.
No.
Well,
Oh,
let's answer
Wanna-
the question
you just
top
you're
to
just
finish. maybe
jonesing for
first.
that major third condition, aren't you?
Okay, so what is the
Let's-
deal?
Yeah,
Because-
what is the deal?
Because
Madame
swapping.
Beaumont,
Mhm.
Madame Beaumont has been stranded here long enough in London that she is starting to lose Fey edges with corrupted human mundanity. She has a lover in Fey who sent
Sent their hand.
their arm, like a good bisection of desiccated flesh, with a wedding ring as a signal of their commitment. As she's been trying to open this portal, she has essentially been tailoring clothing to sap the human essence from Londoners in order to fuel this endeavor. She can't get the ingredients she needs. The apothecary's no help. She's growing her own. And now we at Hargrave House are offering her what?
A chance to go back home. We're gonna use the blood of a beautiful person to open up a portal, using whatever ritual was hidden in this fairy tale book.
There's no way your hot Italian is a virgin. Like, that's just not.
We're not saying he's a virgin. He's just beautiful.
Oh, all right.
But the question is, that's us doing a service. We have to get something in return for it to be a proper Fey bargain.
Yeah.
So what
like,
do we
you
get in
your
return?
beast to hunt. Ernest gets his spiders to do magic stuff with, and Finn gets to go home.
Oh, we're just gonna retire the changeling now. Okay.
I'm confused. What just happened? We are on episode 3?
I love it. I
Done.
love it. I love it. I can't not love it.
Me the player loves it. Me the keeper is going like, what the F just happened? Where are we? I don't even know what day it is.
Changeling's gotta change.
I gotta
Mads.
go.
Oh goodness. Wow. Must have been real tempting. Okay,
Gotta
great.
go. I mean, part of me doesn't want to go. Part of like me as a player loves Finn and would like to keep him around. But
And we make a different deal.
but I
Right,
no,
we
but I
just
think
absolutely.
I think so across the table for me, my thinking is twofold. I've kind of been having some thoughts about, because this is again an experimental playbook, it's something that's still being play tested.
Yeah.
I'm already noticing things that I would want to change, and like
Okay.
I'm already seeing how that would progress.
Okay.
But the other thing was, you said it earlier, mentioning that this is an all boys club. I have an idea for something else that would inject something else, another dynamic into this that I think might be more suitable.
Oh my god! Oh god!
Okay.
My heart is
so-
breaking. My mind is broken.
I wouldn't. And honestly, I
swear.
probably wouldn't have done this if you did. If you had run this later.
I mean, it was the Madame Beaumont fairy threat that like linked real hard.
So one of the things, and you can cut this out, but one of the things is that I'm noticing in my own playtest of this is that there's not enough motivation to explore both sides.
Okay.
And so I immediately slipped into that role of like just wanting to be Fae. And like there's nothing that I've written that really kind of like, there's not a lot of conflict when it comes to the choice yet. And so I'm already noticing that. And so it just kind of becomes,
Mundane.
a fairy playbook and not like someone who's more conflicted about their identity.
Interesting. Now, do you think it's and I may or may not cut this out because this is very valuable. Period. Do you think it's because this was so hard on the Fae part of it that it just
I think
called
I
to
think
you so hard? Is that what
yeah,
happened?
I think that I think that the most exciting parts of it are the Fae stuff.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to really be committed to being just mundane to not want to jump into this stuff, because the fairy stuff in this is really cool.
Yeah.
And so what I definitely need to do is go back and rework a lot of the mundane stuff to make it either more appealing or to at least be more drawbacks into using the kind of Fae stuff.
I mean, souring your Fae line of your own banishment or creating that like, oh, if you go back, things might happen to you, might create that push pull that you're looking for. But I completely get where you're coming from.
Yeah, me too. And I find it interesting because I mean, again, it's like if it hadn't been such a Fae, like a doubling down on Fae, basically in the very beginning, I'm wondering if you would have been able to come to the same conclusion so quickly.
I don't think I would have, which is partly good, but it's also like it would have been more like I would have just been playing Finn as like fairy boy, and I would have loved it, and I think it would have been great. But like that's not the design goal that I had in mind. And so with that, it's kind of like, okay, I have to rewrite this.
Okay, no,
Could we?
Yes.
For our fairy bargain, open a portal.
Yeah.
And Finn makes a choice to walk through it as opposed to requiring. So it allows you a little bit of tying up of loose ends. Or do you want
last session, she, Miss Beaumont and Finn were talking, and she'd asked what he wants, and he said flat out that I want to go home. And so I think that this is just like the fulfillment of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love everything
absolutely.
about it.
I mean, and again, it's something where it's not quite what was listed in the resolve. However, I mean, you still get the opportunity not only to go through this whole blah, blah, for night phase, but you also get to narrate an epilogue in which you retire, like how Finn.
I know I'm throwing a curveball. I apologize in that regard. But...
No, I think gee, what the hell did Ben do to me after after so many episodes? And it's like, I'm just surprised it happened so soon. That's the major thing. I mean, I love it. I love curveballs, but I mean, at least my heart's not terribly broken like it was last season. It's like last season. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, so who's gonna roll?
Yeah, who's gonna roll? Otherwise, this is wrong.
I rolled a 3 earlier. I can't do that.
I'm gonna do it. It's fine. My dice have loved me so hard. It's okay. And I know I'm talking them up, but they respect me, which is why they rolled another 9. Plus, I guess nothing. 5? Oh, fuck.
Plus 5. We're good.
Yeah, the mastermind's gonna show up tonight.
Oh no.
Reveals,
because also too, I mean, like I want to fast
Finn
forward.
Better put on the corset. Like that's all I'm saying.
Holy shit. All I gotta say is
the Italian's gonna wear it.
Oh my god. All I gotta say is
not mine.
All I gotta say is it's like, we're gonna say night phase is not directly, tonight from this particular day. We're going to fast forward this to the Midsummer Masquerade, where, yeah, it's like you all have the opportunity to wear something for this big ass party. Everyone is in costume. Everyone is in some sort of mask. Doesn't have to be a full mask unless you choose to. And hold on, let me pull up that particular bit. Yeah. So, all right. I'll get into that once we get into full night phase. But for right now, so for Dusk, offer to help her go home. Yeah, I think she's going to be stepping up her plans, of course, for the Midsummer Masquerade. So perfect time to make sure you approach her before things come to a head. Given that, what does each hunter want to do for night phase? First pass is just saying what you plan on doing. And then if you need to revise, we'll do that after hearing what everybody thinks they're going to do.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is this night phase the masquerade, or is this night phase the day of?
The night phase will be when the masquerade will be happening.
Understood.
Yeah, so we've just fast forwarded right to it. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say in the midst of this time, I think you've gotten to know the Italian quite well. Did you even ask him his name?
No.
Okay. Is that on purpose?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Look, he knows what he has to do. He can't get attached.
I'm just asking. All right. So 13 for answering the question. All right. And all right. So Finn, you were planning to go to the masquerade, and then are you guys making this offer as a group, or is Finn the spokesman? Or yeah.
I mean, it's up to the others. I was thinking that we'd all go as a group because we all want something.
Right.
And so we'd all present our offers as part of this kind of like buy one, get three free sort of deal.
It does seem like over a fanned conversation in a ballroom that we would negotiate some sort of grocery list collective needs and wants.
Sure. But I like, okay, so to clarify for myself, is the group going to say, yes, we are going to help you. We believe that you want to go home, but then each individual person is going to come up to Hazel and go, this is what I want as part of the bargain.
Well, I'm curious what Atticus would be doing for the night phase, because I know that he's got a different point of view on this than the other two.
Sure.
Atticus's big goal is that he hunts man-eaters. Like, he focuses solely on are you killing people? You need to die. Well, go on about your way resolves the immediate issue, but it also leaves him kind of jonesing for a hunt. He wants to hunt something. Honestly, he might just ask, hey, do you know who the Axeman is? Can you just set me up on a fight date with this guy so I can just throw down?
Ernest is looking at the situation as purely an opportunistic exchange, because I'm not sacrificing anything and I can still get something. And so it really isn't no skin off my nose, magic spider ink, or whatever else I decide to ask from her.
Okay. So you're all willing to help, but then there's a little ulterior motive that maybe your companions don't know about. And this is not just Ernest, this is all of you. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm bringing the Italian and the corset with thorns and the gloves.
So you were not only taking Most Beloved, but then you were doing Cosmic Passage, right, for your mask?
Yeah.
Okay. And just a reminder, you're going to go through with this and retire Finn, correct? Okay. No. The reason I'm asking is because just remember that once Finn is retired, then Most Beloved goes back on the table. Oh, wow. Given this, all right, now we're just going to go ahead and introduce some unseen. It's going to be a party up in this house, and I'm not sure whether to include yet another party as a back and forth or make it as grim as possible.
We did get a 12 plus.
Yeah. There's two things that like we haven't done, but like they go really on one of the veils. I'm kind of like, I will push that off to later. It's a party up in this house, but let's do a party elsewhere as well. All right, so we're going to do, for the unseen, we're going to do an evening promenade in Covent Garden. Covent Garden hosts a large market, selling mostly fruit, vegetables, and fresh flowers, recently covered by a new market building. While most of the stalls have packed up by the time dusk falls, the area is still abuzz with visitors. Both the Royal Opera House and the Theatre Royal can be found here. And while it has cleaned up its image a little, it still has a reputation for hosting ladies of the evening. Okay, so remember the purpose of the unseen. Again, something tying it to the hunter scenes that occurs, slice of life, seedy underbelly of London, completely away from where the hunters are. All right, so paint the scene is everyone. Prompt 2 is going to go to Jack. Prompt 3 is going to go to Mike. Prompt 4 is going to go to Sarah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say, before we get into the introduction of, the first prompt of the unseen, let's mark the Midsummer Masquerade. Okay. So everybody's going there. There's dazzling mirrored lanterns, a maze of statuary and potted plants. A swirling throng of costumed revelers danced, masked, until midnight. So paint the scene for this. Guests travel from afar to attend this event each year, each one more beautiful than the last. What love interest or old acquaintance do you hope to meet here by chance?
Ernest always expects to run into last year's ingenue. And it is a serial conquest in which he is always looking for whoever played Juliet last to bring home in the evening.
Does he have a name for this rising talent?
Sorry, my brain went to a series of dirty jokes. Babette.
So
There is a gentleman, a barrister, who sometime back when Finn first got to London, he was obviously, his fingers were rather sticky and needed to survive. And so when he was picked up on charges, this barrister, we'll call him Jonathan. Jonathan represented him in court. And he's not sure if it's his natural charisma or some of the Fae kind of hypnosis that he can put people into. But he and the barrister developed a bit of a relationship, and he managed to get him off in more ways than one. I had to, I'm sorry.
Credit where credit is due. We're going to miss you, Finn. Atticus doesn't know who he's looking for. Every time he sees someone who's wearing a deep shade of red, he follows them for a moment, expecting to see an acquaintance, but it just fades away as they turn, and it's not the person he's looking for. But he's not sure who it is.
question, and I believe it's missed because it wasn't for some reason showing up under the phase tab. Did you roll for a cosmic passage since you were?
Nope. I was waiting for the opportunity to do so.
Okay.
Probably when it was most dramatically appropriate, because I'm probably going to get bloodthirsty from this. My third condition. Let's go. Never mind. I got an 11 from that. We're A-okay.
And what does the 11 do for you for cosmic passage?
I take advantage on my next roll and describe what aspect of the beast is helping me in that moment.
Perfect. Okay. And I hope to give you some opportunity to do so. All right, great. Sorry, I have to laugh. Okay, so entering night phase. Let's paint the scene with our first unseen prompt. As crowds gather for the evening performances and market porters clear down the stalls, describe how this place is at a crossroads for all strata of London society.
There's a gentleman walking arm in arm with his lady. Both of them are well dressed. He's got this sort of wax curled mustache and slick back hair. He's wearing a tuxedo and top hat. Looks to be probably heading towards a nearby opera. We see his lady dressed all in these sort of beautiful mulberry colors and crinoline and silks. Her hair is done up in pins and a cute little fascinator. But as they're walking by, a gnarled, muck-covered hand reaches out and grabs at the young lady's the edge of her skirt, and her partner wrenches her back, and we see just this old, disheveled man wearing nothing but rags, looking up at them, pleading for a scrap of food. They, of course, are disgusted and walk away.
Picking up from that, I think there is a street vendor that's selling street food. He gives the man who's asking for food something just to help tide him over. And then he turns and shouts to the crowd. Some people, workers who are getting off of their shift, come over, get some food. Even some of the nicer dressed folk initially turn up their nose, but they're like, we're going to see a show. Might as well grab a light snack to bring in. We'll slum it for a bit and eat what the commoners are eating in that sort of stance.
We see a woman dressed in what is easily the finest of the season, trying desperately to keep her skirts above the dirt of the street as she crosses the road and takes the arm of a gentleman, and they promenade in a way that is very off-putting and unfitting for this particular place.
All right. Now, I will ask you all, do you enter in together? And what are you wearing for this masquerade?
Ernest went full Marie Antoinette, and it might be too soon.
That reminds me of and my French is bad, but the Bande of Victims. Great. But Finn, I think we're coming in together, unless Atticus does want to.
We're
But
going together.
cool. So in that case, I think Finn is wearing. I think he's wearing something sort of like akin to like a toga, but it's made of this sort of like kind of like pale, aquamarine color, and I think he's got these like laced up sandals. And he's made a crown, like a little laurel crown, that he's tried to fashion out of like actual leaves and twigs. It's a little hokey pokey, but he carries it well.
Have no fear. Atticus is going to be strolling in wearing an animal pelt, a stag head, and just a hunter's garb, as he claims to be the leader of the wild hunt. That's not going to offend anyone. Of course not.
Does he know?
What is the full question? Does he know?
Does he remember?
No. But he is wearing a stag head mask, and it just sort of felt right.
Okay. Alrighty. And Finn, you said that you were bringing hot Italian with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Hot Italian is actually wearing he's wearing his old suit that he was wearing when they first met. This one fits him a bit better since he's a bit more broad-shouldered, barrel-chested. But of course, Finn has made sure to keep the buttons open as to expose this party to his guests' wonderful washboard abs.
I'm gonna say that Hot Italian is just like kind of questioning. It's like, do I not need a mask?
Oh no,
Everyone
dear.
else-
Yeah, you're better when you're exposed.
Ah, like later?
Yes.
And he nods. Yeah, Sir Atticus on himboism is nothing on this guy, I think, fortunately.
No, I willingly cede the crown to this guy. No, he can have it for now.
Oof. All right.
Don't worry, you'll have it back soon.
Ernest has had to use so much talc powder to like in order to actually create flesh for the outfit. It's pretty glorious, but there's
Oh wait, so is he
probably
like invisible but like covered in powder to make like skin? Oh,
yes.
that's fucking cool.
And I thought that Marie Antoinette, the pale and the rouge and everything else would be painted lady for the evening.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Love
I was
that.
also gonna say it's like I wasn't sure whether it would be like some kind of whatever they had for grease paint back then, like literally like to whiten or darken or
Probably
whatever.
several layers of each, to be
Okay.
honest, because
Right.
we don't want any like holes
Yeah,
developing throughout the evening.
sure, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, in this grand place, I mean, like it's glittering, it's bright as candelabra can make it, with hot wax dripping on dancers, but everybody seems to deal with it. So all right, great. Everyone knows it's the great event of the year, of one of the great events of the year, and there is the talk of Hazel Beaumont showing off some of her new designs, like a new collection for this evening, like later on, around the time before the unmasking at midnight. You come in together. Do you stay together or do you mingle?
I think Finn is looking for Miss Beaumont.
Ernest can't but help but mingle.
I
think-
think okay.
I was going to say Atticus is going to mingle. He's still looking for someone, but he's not sure who.
Got it. All right. So I'm gonna say let's go with Ernest first. Ernest, I think you break off and then you see kind of like the clump of the theater folk that are here. Excuse me. They are always, as usual, in their usual like coterie, talking amongst themselves about like the new production that's going to be happening. And then as you near them, I think you hear them twittering about Blackwood's new play. And it turns out, scandalous, that he was unable to finish his work. So they are unable to present as a feature for this year's Masquerade.
Really? He was so excited when I saw him last. He was ablaze with thought and idea and passion. He didn't finish?
The person that turns to you is in what looks like like a delicate flower mask, like a half mask. And you can see from what's visible that it is the ingenue that you had remembered from the last performance of Romeo and Juliet. And yeah, she just kind of turns to you and says, I know. It's unbelievable. He seemed so excited. He even showed some of us some of the pages, but they were all in some sort of jumble because then he started rambling about the other crowd again. I don't know. I mean, where in this mess is it supposed to be talking about Faye? I mean, honestly. I mean, he was supposed to be doing something more for towards the collection that Miss Beaumont was going to be presenting. I think she was supposed to be making the costumes for the performance, but then she stopped and now he is bereft of production, I suppose. He took to his bed, he said. He couldn't finish, so therefore he didn't feel he could show his face.
Ernest moves the large side skirt hoop to the side and pulls Babette closer and whispers, I blame the laudanum. I think that he's been truly drowning himself in substances for years, and it's finally caught up with him.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think he's sleeping it off?
I mean, what else? What other explanation could it be for others? These fae, this whole realm that he seems to have completely fantasized in what I can only assume is a drug-filled stupor.
You don't think it has anything to do with the fact that the costumes weren't going to be completed? Inspiring the work?
Babette, darling. I've had so many productions go tits up in the last moment, and if you cannot continue on, chin up, and carry on through, it must go on. And he obviously just isn't made of, well, the sternest stuff.
You're right. He should have just gone on. I mean, at least put on something. He could have had like a scene from it. I was going to be having a part in that show. Guess I'll have
Ernest will grab her chin a little
Mhm.
bit and leave a white thumbprint. And you would have been marvelous, my dear.
Thank you. And have I been in one of your productions? You seem very familiar.
Oh, your Juliet, my dear, it was just a sing-song, pitch perfect marvel. And I was in the first 3 rows. You might have seen me. I do tend to wear the white mask. This is more symbolic this evening.
The triple rose. You tossed me the triple rose.
Well, it was such a magnificent performance. I've seen many Juliets come and go, and yours pierced me through the heart.
And she smiles. And Atticus, you are mingling possibly in an opposite direction. And I think you find yourself near the French doors of this location. And you go outside to what seems to be a fountained patio surrounded by flowers. Plenty of roses, plenty of red flowers in bloom. And on the opposite end of the fountain from the doors, you see a figure draped in gray and red, facing away from the doors, seemingly keeping herself. She seems to be wearing like a dress of rather smoky material.
Is it clear that this person wants to be alone or is just enjoying the cool night air at this point?
Looking up at the sky, so perhaps enjoying the cool night air.
Yeah, he'll strike up a conversation. Good, clear evening. Wonderful night for a hunt.
Is it a hunt you seek, or is it a hunt that you are making yourself?
As much as I would like to go on the hunt, this is something that has to be orchestrated. Companions are restricting me from going all out. He, a little childishly, especially with the young Atticus that he is now, is kind of like just a little put out. I want to go hunt and fight, but they won't let me. Is hunting something that you're familiar with, lady?
Absolutely. I've spilled quite a bit of blood in my time.
He's impressed. He'll turn. Really, that's quite admirable, in fact. Not too many people in London proper see any value in going getting some fresh air and pursuing in the hunt. Lady.
She will slowly turn to you, and she has eyes of dark diamonds. And you see raven hair underneath her scarf of gray and red. I am the Lady Everly Grey.
Pleasure to meet you. I am Sir Atticus Wellington-Hughes. A pleasure.
A hunting family. And she has a very teasing / almost derisive sound to her voice when she says hunting.
A family reputation, yes, but each must earn his own reputation.
Oh, I know. I know how that works.
Honestly, I think Atticus just wants to get to know this person, not try to unravel anything. He knows he's killing time before they need to speak with the person we're helping. But this is the first interesting person he's met in this entire masquerade.
Finn, you make your way almost like a straight arrow towards the back as you laugh and chatter, I guess, your way along, and your companion is also making his way. And there are many admiring glances from both men and women for the two of you. And some comments of it's almost looking like the moon and the sun, or light and dark, and just these murmurs of appreciation as you make your way. There is curtained recesses all along the back wall. And then as you near them, you can see the flutter of black lace and that jet black absorbing light fabric of the Sandula sisters. Which one you can't tell who you're looking at, but you can see them.
Oh, hello, ladies. Is your mistress available? We brought something for her.
I think they come together, if you see one, then the other one comes out from the other side of the shadows, and then they will bow to you, keeping their veils on, and then they will stay in alternation. It's and she welcomes you and your companions. Please. We hope to see you all at the end of the ball. But for now, come. And then just like that first night that you met them, one puts out her right hand and the other one puts out her left as a gesture for both of you to come with them.
I sort of put my hand behind the Italian's back and sort of push him into their arms and just follow the three of them as they retreat.
All right. Jack, a young girl sells bouquets outside the flower hall, made up from the leftovers of the day's trade. Who comes to her to buy, and who are they taking the flowers to?
There is this, he's younger, he's probably in his early teens. Clearly he works the chimneys, but he's about to age out given his size. He's covered in soot and has one of those newsy caps and a thick wool jacket, and all of which is covered in this kind of this smattering of coal dust, ash. And he takes his hat off as he was raised to be polite, and he looks up to the young girl and says, "Pardon me, Mum. I wanted to see if I could just buy a couple flowers, nothing too flashy. And the girl looks at him, and she's probably from a similar class. And she leans in. And she says, "Oh, well, what would you like?" And the young boy looks around and sees the kind of like menagerie of hodgepodge flowers. Nothing. There's no like real bouquets in the back. They're bouquets, but they're all sort of like none of them are really constructed with the kind of like curation that like a professional would have. This is very much sort of her using what she has and just sort of trying to make things look as pretty as possible. He points to one that has a couple daisies in it, little sprigs of lavender. Oh, that one, my mom loves lavender. And the girl goes back to it and she puts it on the counter, but she draws it back first and she says, "That's for your mother." And the boy says, "Yeah, yes, I don't have much," but he kind of opens his hand and he has a couple penny farthings. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I don't know English currency. I'm American. But
Bob, I think.
Bob. But he just shows he essentially has the equivalent of like less than a half a dollar. And she looks around and looks him up and down once more and looks at the sort of pleading hangdog look in his face. And she says, "All right, fine. I usually don't do this, but if it's for your mother." And she hands it off to the young man, and he takes it graciously and says, thank you so much." Puts his hat back on, and he scampers off, and she smiles warmly, thinking that she's done something good. Meanwhile, though, he runs up to this beautiful older woman and hands him off to her. Says, "Here you go, Mom." And we get from the sense of the way that she strokes his chin and the way that he looks longingly at her that's not his mom.
Okay. So, yeah, Ernest, I think you see, as you are talking and enjoying the company of Babette, I think you see the flash, or not the flash, but the shimmer of what you had sort of viewed from afar, that shimmering effect of Hazel Beaumont's fabric. And above these gauzy, shimmering drapery is the face of a beautiful middle-aged woman, and her hair is cascading down her back, almost to the floor, as if it's part of a costume, but it's not. And she beckons to you from behind the drapery, as if to go down a particular hallway. You make your way to her.
Ernest will bend down to reach Babette's ear and speak softly and say, "You really should look me up, my dear. I think I have one or two roles that you would fill perfectly. But for now, I must continue. There are so many people to say hello to. Bye all, goodbye." And then I will make my way towards the what I presume is Miss Hazel Beaumont herself.
She seems to dip back into the hallway and only stays where she is once you are in the entryway of this hallway. And she says to you, "Walk with me. I don't believe you completely made it to my shop, but you are an acquaintance, a friend, a colleague of Mr. Quickley. Am I correct?"
I am many of those things to many people, but Mr. Quickley in particular.
Did he happen to tell you what I provide?
Unfortunately, I don't know the specifics, but based on the observations of this mere poet, I would say what you provide must be purely magical.
That's one way to put it. She will hook her arm into yours and pat the powdered skin. But you notice she doesn't leave any marks. Question: what is your heart's desire from a mere poet's heart?
If I was to speak in earnest, I am Ernest. You can call me what you like, but if it was just one thing I desire, it is to pierce into the crux of the human heart and know precisely what it is in the human condition, to wander this world aimlessly without really understanding our desires and our pains. And I spend endless hours trying to truly distill pain and pleasure down to the point of a pen.
She leans into you and she says, so is your point to write about them or know them through your words? They are two terribly different things.
Well, if you would allow me to speak with some poetry, if I could dip my quill in the heart's blood of a person and then write the truest story of them onto a page, I think that I might finally know peace. But of course, it is pure poetry.
But what if it is reality's truth? There may be heart's blood for you yet. Come. Atticus, you are with Lady Everly Grey. And she seems to be fascinated by you as well. But she has said that she knows you have a reputation. Her family does as well, but she doesn't quite tell you what that is.
Atticus would love to know. Atticus would love to compare notes. Atticus thinks he's finally found a friend. But he's also here on a job.
On a hunt, then.
The very same.
I see. I wonder if it resembles the one that I'm on.
Do you know much of men in mirrors? The Fae? Blood being spilled and all that?
And she immediately gets this strange, angry look on her face when you mention the Fae.
Ah, that one hits close.
If only you knew. What do you smell tonight? What is in your nostrils? The scent of your hunt.
Yeah, I would like to take a deep whiff of the air, similar to what we did in the Blue Feather Society, because this is apparently just Atticus's thing, aside from waving his sword around with sensitivity.
I'd be very careful about what you wish for. Go ahead and roll night move.
Yep.
What do you think will happen if this fails or you lose your nerve?
I think I make a nuisance of myself. I think I go full bull in a china shop in the middle of this fine, dignified gathering saying something big, something bad is here, and it's not the lady we're here to help.
I think you, what's the word? basically you shoot your gun off too soon, basically, and I think you endanger the others. Before you actually figure out like what you're after.
Before they're able to like make their play for the lady we're trying to help, I bust in and she's like, "Oh, this is all a setup."
Right, exactly. It's
Okay.
like, oh, you're trying to mess this up. You're not trying to help.
Try to help me at all.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Is this vitality given that
I'm gonna say yes.
and I am again going to tap into the power of the beast.
Are you using advantage on this roll? Because
I must. It must be the next roll.
Sure. What aspect of the beast are you using?
I believe that my senses extend not just to where I am, but extend further to different sources within the ballroom and across the estate.
Okay.
Let's go. Okay, die. Stay in the tray, please. That is very bad. Why would you do this to me? That is
3d6.
Like that matters. Yeah. So that is a 7.
Oh, okay.
By the way, that is a 2. That's only because I'm rolling with vitality as Atticus, which is a 3. I got 2, 2, and 1. So 7, barely cutting it. All right.
Wow. Okay.
Do you want me to mark a mask? Would that make you feel better? Or
no? I mean, like,
okay.
Wait. Let me land that. Hold on a second. You can if you want to go success. You don't have to. We'll just run with a complication.
Oh, 7 is a miss?
No, 7 to 9 is mixed result.
Yeah.
That is up to you.
It's a success with a complication. So.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have that many masks is the problem.
So you don't have to. I mean, just kind of roll with it.
There is the other mask though for the threat that we didn't mark yet.
Oh, that's true.
Oh darn.
Mask of Glamour.
We did do that one, I thought.
Oh, wait, hold on.
It says that it's
marked.
Right,
yeah, it is marked.
Oops.
No, I don't think this is a good time for the Mask of the Pig.
And you couldn't you couldn't do it anyway because it's not to do with this particular threat.
Yeah. No. Hit me with the consequence. Let's go. What's the complication?
All right. So if you fail, you are going to do this prematurely. However, I don't think you know that Finn wants to go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would he want to go home? We just finished talking about how awesome gardens in the middle of London are.
Yeah. So
okay.
I think that's going to be a bit sticky wicket there. So let's give that a shot and see what happens. All right. Okay. And Finn, she brings you out to this back room, which now you're noticing that there are more of these strange plants from the garden that you saw underneath her shop. And there are people here. They are not moving. They are wearing some of these new designs that she has made of her fabric. One of them looks a little bit like your bespoke suit. Not quite, though. It's made for like somebody of different proportions, but the cut resembles your suit. And yes, she brings you all back there. And the Sister Sindula are gently clutching the Italian. However, you can see that they'll be ready in a millisecond to clamp down on him as needed. And
no, ladies, no. I know he's quite alluring, but must be patient. And looking around, do we see the gloves and the corset?
Yes.
All right. So think he'll go over to the gloves and just sort of start putting them on, and he'll go up to the sisters and the Italian, sort of showing off the hooks. What do you think of these, my dear?
They look painful.
Are they? And he'll just sort of like stroke the exposed flesh of his chest, but not like digging in, just like letting the tips sort of drag on the skin.
The sisters are looking at him, almost like keeping him tamed, I would imagine, like keeping him relatively calm for what you intend to do. And this is when Beaumont will come in with Ernest in his Marie Antoinette costume, sweeping in, smiles on Hazel Beaumont's face. And I imagine Ernest's as well, perhaps. Ah, some of the players of this particular ensemble. I just have to ask, what do you wish to do here? Are you here to stop me?
No, of course not. I told you back when you made the suit that I would make a deal with you. You would get what you want, and I would get what I want. And well, it looks like everyone's making deals, and he'll sort of gesture to Ernest, who's clearly looks satisfied.
If within my power and this is successful, then yes, all wishes could be granted.
You really doubt my ability to come through with.
Your other companion isn't quite here yet.
No, well, maybe he saw something shiny. I don't know. Nevertheless, we don't have much time. It's almost midnight.
True. Those out there are expecting a bit of a show. They'll get one. Perhaps not the one that they were wanting. And she smiles with teeth.
Finn looks up at the Italian and says, "Well, my dear, you heard the lady. We have a show to put on, and you have a costume change." And he'll go over to the to the mannequin that has the corset on it, and he'll unhook it, and he'll approach.
And he looks dazed now, looking back at the sisters, and then kind of caught in Hazel's eyes. Are you looking at him too?
Yeah.
Do you put it on him? He seems to be confused that
Yeah.
he's not doing anything. And I imagine that.
I don't tighten the laces just yet, but I do
Right.
put it on him just enough to feel the inside.
Right. He doesn't seem to notice. And Hazel looks satisfied, as you haven't tightened it yet, but there are pins and hooks that seem to pierce his skin. And slowly there are tiny rivulets that will wash down and pool in this garden. Atticus, I think at this point, your companion has smelled something very, very fey here. Do you smell it?
Yes.
Blood. Human blood. We need to go.
No more pageantry.
No.
The hunt.
And she flips up her skirt, which you were, I'm sure, not expecting, to show like gray leathers underneath and what look like two sticks strapped to her thighs that she pulls out and kind of does that flourish. And it's like, it smells like a hunt.
I draw the burden from underneath my cloak.
And then you make your way to the back, to the garden. Mike, what scenes of high drama do we see play out on the stage of the Royal Opera House? And how do we see these same tragedies and romances play out on the street outside?
I think we are in the middle of, I don't know enough classical theater to know. There's a lover's quarrel. There's a lady and a sir who wish to be together, but it is not meant to be. It's not in the stars. It's played for high drama. Maybe the lady's brother shows up and stabs the would-be lover and then leaves, and he has time to give one long-lasting soliloquy cursing their stars and their fate. And as the audience rises and applauds, this touching scene, we pan maybe a couple of blocks down to a spat between a lady and her lover, and her brother comes in and just kills him. There is no speech. There is no clean death. There is just screaming and panic.
I think as the blood runs down and there are plants starting to grow at the Italian's feet, and they look like they're drinking in the blood. As more plants grow and they start to extend, where vines are forming some sort of frame around and over each other, large enough for people to step through. And when these blood red vines come together, you start seeing a shimmering light in the middle of them as it opens up into what looks like another world.
I think we see it flickering. It's not super stable yet. And Finn looks up at the beautiful Italian, sort of gently caresses his chin, his jaw, and says, "Let's give the people a show." And he turns him around, yanks the laces of the corset, tightening them as much as he can, sort of putting his knee into his back, and just blood starts to gush down from beneath the corset down his legs. And I think there's a bit of a moment where, because the gloves also have hooks, I think he's also like tearing his flesh up with them, sort of dragging across, just trying to shed as much blood as possible, while ignoring the face, because can't do that. But I think there's probably like a little cut here though on his jaw. But yeah, I think the excessive shedding of the blood is what sort of stabilizes the portal.
And I think at this point too, as Sir Atticus and his new companion burst into this garden space, I think not the distance, but I think on the far side of this garden, you start to see something come out of the blood red flowers, almost like the flowers are starting to create some kind of gown, almost as if the flowers are starting to bloom. And out of the blooms covering this statuesque frame is a woman with russet red lips, with a maiden-like visage, but her throat has a gruesome smile of blood as she steps forward with her flower gown, flowers in her hair, and she smiles at the smell of blood. She's taking a deep breath. You can hear her from across the garden, even though she doesn't say a word. And she says, "My balm and my perfume." And as she smiles, you see two little incisors that seem awfully bright in the night. Ernest, what do you do seeing this?
Ernest had been using their fan to swat at the vines that were starting to form around their feet, taking steps back and up against the wall when Mr. Quickley tightens the corset. He snaps out a fan and is taking it all in. And as the music of her voice fills the air, I think that there is the equivalent of a fainting couch moment in which his own corset just causes him to collapse and watch the rest of the show.
Atticus, what are you doing?
If there's a skylight, I'm bursting in. No, this is in the middle of a garden.
Yes. Outdoors.
Busting in through the wall, like just a hedge if I need to at this point, looking around for what this powerful fey stench is. Lady Beaumont, small potatoes, whatever this thing is, it needs to die.
Basically, you see the woman on the far side of the garden, but the portal is wide open and flickering alive, just so you know.
Okay. And she looks like she's trying to make a break for it?
Finn and Hazel Beaumont are the nearest, the closest. As Finn has bloodlet, I guess?
Yeah, like, is the Italian doing okay? Is probably not.
No, he's only held up by the Sister Sindula and the fact that there's a corset like being tugged at by Finn.
But he's not dead.
Yet.
Atticus is going to go up to the twins and attack. Viciously, violently.
All right. Night move.
All right.
Definitely vitality.
Yes, definitely vitality. I think that what I'm worried about is that Beaumont is going to step in and say, deals off. This was all a trap. And then impale me.
Yes, she is going to pretty much decimate everyone who was part of this. You and Hargrave House, for like ruining like what essentially is her moment to go home.
Yes.
So
okay. I would like to point out a small move that I've never had to do before because we didn't really deal with a lot of it.
okay.
It's called Fueled by Vengeance.
Okay.
When pursuing or fighting a creature that is the same type as the beast, add +1 to any associated die rolls.
Yeah.
And then ask another hunter how your doggedness or brutality makes them feel. This may inflict a condition. And then I get to unmark the darkened threshold.
Okay.
I'm willing to say that the beast is a fey creature.
Nice.
And a shapeshifter. So I will be rolling with a +4 this evening. That is 5 + 4 + 4, giving me 13.
Okay.
Finn, how does the brutality as I break through a hedge and immediately go to town on these two recent conquests, hunting for the first time that you've actually seen me hunt, how do you feel?
Extremely bothered. Not because it's brutal, but this is not even bothered. Inconvenienced is what I would say.
Okay.
And I think that as Finn is shouting, "Stop! No, stop! This is supposed to happen."
Innocent blood! This was not what you said would happen. A deal, a bargain, sure, at your own cost, yes. But by God, this is a citizen of London, an innocent man.
Well, technically he's Italian, but yes.
Yes! Thank you. Sorry, that was
No.
a really good comeback.
That was very good comeback. Oh my God, this is great. Holy shit. In the interest of time, go ahead and say how you dispatch the Sister Syndulla. Going to go very quickly to the last unseen, and then we're going to have you all wrap up like what happens at the end.
They are disarmed.
Yes. They're coming
Literally.
at you with like, with claws that lengthen into like needle sharp knives. But go
No,
ahead.
he is slicing it like a
Nice.
butcher, just like horizontal wise. They are
Okay.
literally disarmed, kicking them aside, grabbing the Italian, cutting up the corset if he needs to with the burden. And I think he's too late. And he lets out a cry that echoes similar to other cries that we have heard throughout London tonight. And there's just hate.
Sarah, in a gin palace later in the evening, sex workers and actors sit side by side, enjoying a drink after a busy night. How do we see the kinship they feel for each other?
At the end of an evening, the actors and painted ladies are wiping off their own grease paint and powders and comparing bruises, cuts, whether it be from Johns or stagecraft, and commiserating of the brutality of their professions respectively, and raising yet another glass of gin.
You rolled a 13 on this, so you do succeed in resolving this. Hazel Beaumont is a little put out because her servants are dispatched, but she is still able to go. And she's using this as a distraction. So she is able to use the open portal. And she looks calmly at you, Finn, and says, "There's still time. You coming?"
Finn turns back to the others, seeing the Italian sort of bloody in Atticus's arms, and seeing Ernest sort of splayed out on the grass, sort of like in their fainted, coming out of their sort of daze. And he looks at them, down at them, and says, "Don't wait up for me." And, well, I don't really have anything much more to say. It was nice to know you both, and, well, you could sell my clothes. I won't really be needing them where I'm going. And he looks back at the portal, and you see his body just looking back. And it's like he's just had his head turned. But his body doesn't move, but his skin starts to split open, and we just see this humanoid figure that's the same shape as him, but it's made of just this iridescent, radiant light. Just sort of steps out of him, and the husk of Finn's human form just sort of falls to the ground. And he looks back at the others and says, "Good luck to you all. Truly, you'll need it." And with that, he looks up at the woman in red with the covered in the bloody flowers, and he steps right through.
And I think,
Ernest,
go ahead.
having watched this whole production, stands to their feet and just yells, "Bravo!"
Atticus wants to kill Finn very badly, but between trying to make sure that the Italian is alive, hoping at least, and the fact that there is now a very heavy himbo corpse on top of him, cannot quite get up in time to strike at Finn. And he just kind of chops at the gateway in a rage and a fury.
I think your companion has already tried to go for the gate and is also a futile gesture. As the gate closes behind Hazel Beaumont and Finn, The vines drop, and the blood pools, and the woman sinks back into the hedge, that toothy smile still on her lips. And all you see then is a bush of blood red flowers on the wall. And that is where we end night phase. And Spider Silk Seamstress is resolved. Since Jack's got to go, we can wait for the other stuff until later. Or we can continue on, and then, like, if you want to just give some stars and wishes real quick.
Yeah, I can do that. Thanks for accommodating me and my bullshit. But I love the idea of this gala. I love seeing Atticus sort of be able to connect with someone. It's always good. Those scenes are always good with you, Mike, and so it was nice to see that side of him again, and hope to see more of it. And then I'm just really, as a star for Ernest, I love the idea of the costume that he wore, and I love the idea of him like following after these ingenues, having this sort of this taste for new Juliets. It's very, very it seems very on brand for him. But I'm just really curious to see what his long game is, because he's definitely a decadent, but I'm wondering, like, what are the other sides that he's not showing us that we can't see? But yeah, no, good times. Hate that I have to run, but again, thank you all for accommodating me, and I'll miss Finn, but I'll figure something out.
Yeah, no. I mean, let's pick it up in chat, and then we'll discuss all the other stuff. All right.
Yep.
So see you
ya.
next time. Yeah, all that stuff. All right.
Hey,
Bye.
good night.
Nate. All righty. So for rest of you. All right, great. So give me a second. I just want to go back to the hunters. We'll go through dawn phase as normal. Yeah, for the resolution of the Spider Silk Seamstress, there are rewards. And hopefully I pasted them where they are. No, I didn't. Oh my God. What's wrong with me? Holy shit. I mean, did everything else, and then I forgot to do the rewards.
You didn't write down our loot? DM,
No.
come on.
I know. I mean, no, because for the other ones, it's like I usually had already pasted them and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to just do it right now real quick. Okay. So first off is the flawless suit or gown, somehow perfectly tailored to your measurements, added to your personal quarters. I noticed that in hand raise. Oh my goodness.
With a quickness immediately. All right.
Immediately. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Ernest has a theme, and I feel like as a player, I need to honor that.
Yep.
Fair.
Okay. Next one is Sir Richard's silver-rimmed monocle allows the wearer to see through a disguise or spot a hidden clue, added to your personal quarters. Another reward is a music box inscribed Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. However, the tune it plays is unrecognizable, causing strange dreams and delirious visions, added to your personal quarters. And then the last reward is a Venetian mask painted with crescent moons and stars. The world appears more colorful through its eyes, but may cause temporary blindness if worn too long, added to your personal quarters.
Okay. I think Atticus will take the monocle. If you just want to paste it in the chat, then I'll add it to my sheet.
Same.
Okay. Or do you want to wait until your compatriots can
That's
pick it
true.
out from the chat?
Sure.
So you can do that too. But let me go ahead and paste them all into the chat so you can see it. Answer Dawn questions. All right. So, Sir Atticus, Hunters answered a question. Hunters resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night? Pretty sure I heard one.
Right, the dramatic someone losing a dearly loved one versus Atticus failing to save an innocent.
Did you taste someone or something else's blood, sweat, or other bodily fluids?
Not this time.
Damn, man. It's like It's like right there. But
Usually
okay.
that's a
Plenty of blood
go-to.
around.
Usually that's like an automatic thing,
I
but Atticus
know.
was kind of on the job this time.
He really was. Oh my gosh. Did you revel in the thrill of the hunt? I think so. Yeah.
I was willing to almost ruin everyone else's plans for the sake of the hunt. And I had a friend. I had a friend who encouraged me in my interests.
Yes. You'll see her again. Yes, for sure. Okay, so that's 4 XP. Go ahead and mark your track. If you have overage, of course, keep that in there as well, and then clear your dawn questions and change the elective ones if you so choose. Ernest, you answered a question, resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Painted ladies all around.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Did you dress or act in a theatrical manner in order to draw attention to yourself? I think you did.
Couple of times.
Too soon. Did you take advantage of your invisibility in ways others would disapprove of?
I would argue that I was spying on Orrin Blackwood in his house for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
Standing in a corner feels like that's inappropriate.
Moving their furniture.
I did.
And messing with him
Yes.
because I don't think he did not complete his master, well, what he considers his a masterpiece, but I'm sure you have other ideas. So
just gonna take that XP too.
yes. Okay, so go ahead and mark your XP track, and then if it allows you to take an advancement, go ahead and do so, clearing your XP and changing your elective dawn questions if you so choose. And then let me make a personal note over here. Oh my god, I don't even know what to do because it's like wow.
Save it for stars and wishes.
Yeah, I'll save it for stars and wishes. Sure. Okay, absolutely. All right. We're not going to worry about that right now. Although Chaotic's going to be like beside himself when he sees the mess. Oh, this is great. Okay. All right. Sorry. Dawn questions, resolve any playbook or custom moves. Nobody marked any mess or anything like that needed to be worried about. American, nope. And that's it. I mean, like, and nobody activated any custom moves. So there you go. And we have a retired player. Oh my God. Well, hey, let's move on to the debrief of stars and wishes. Stars are things that you really enjoyed about today's session today, and about each other, the gameplay, and so on. And wishes are what you'd like to see for the future or next time.
Sarah, Ernest is asked, what do you want? And Ernest's response is, I want the heart of a human that I can use as ink to write truth. And that was such a hardcore, off the cuff, like wish. Like, that was awesome.
When confronted with a fae, like
But you rolled deep. You were like, this is what I want in the most dramatic fashion. And then you're like, oh, but like, if I get something else, that's cool too, I guess. Also, you kicking the man down. He didn't finish the play because you were messing with him, and you're like, it's the laudanum. Like he's an absolute train wreck and just ruining his reputation when the man can't defend himself.
I mean, one of the moves that my character has, I haven't even used yet. I've just been role-playing real hard. Is the Quicksilver tongue. The tongue is the soft weapon that kills subtly. I'm doing that without rolling dice.
You are doing it very well. You are presenting a cohesive image of this invisible anarchist, and it's very entertaining to watch.
And I apologize if I'm not calling the move. I mean, it's I'm so sorry. You didn't get to roll.
It wasn't that at all. No.
Okay. All right.
I know Jack's not here. That goodbye of guess you guys have to clean up the mess, deuces, and then just his skin just literally walks out of the skin and the human suit falls down was very, it was cool. I lack proper vocabulary to describe this eldritch fey body horror-ish thing that happened, and I really liked it. and I look forward to seeing what character Jack brings up next. And then, Mads, I know you had fun bringing her back. Thank you for responding to a little bit of a selfish wish. I know a lot of what I've been doing has been making callbacks to last season and being like, gosh, I wish I remembered my friends. That would be nice. But thank you for bringing that character back.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not quite the same character though. So, I mean, we'll have to see what she's like in this reality. Not sure yet. So, but yeah.
I got my wish. I got to fight. That's it. I don't know what to expect next. I have no further wishes at this moment. Thank you.
Well, I am so glad that it turned out relatively, how you've enjoyed it. So that's cool. Yeah, stars. Yeah, when he dropped that bomb that Finn was going to do retire, I was like, wait, are you kidding me? Wait, what? I mean, it's only episode 3. What's going on? Yeah, no, I mean, it was very good. It was stars for sure, because that is actually what I would consider what is it? What do they say? Like an 11th hour move? Like this is what I would have expected, like towards the end of the campaign for like Finn piecing out, and it's like, oh shit. Okay. Interesting. But I mean, from meta behind the scenes, like from a designer's point of view, it's like, I can appreciate like, the care that he's taken to trying to figure out where the writing is, and then like, given the opportunity to play test. And this was, I guess, like, a unique way to test, well, what is the push-pull? Like, is he conflicted, or can he be conflicted if faced with something so fey on that particular side that he thinks about trying to keep the human side of him. And if not, then yeah, maybe he just needs to go back to the drawing board, or revamp a little. So I was starring that. I'm still sad that we've lost Finn, lost a character 3 episodes in. Oh my god. It's the horror story from last season, except much quicker. But again, I understand why he's done it, and I can appreciate like the dramatic move for doing it. And stars for Sir Atticus just being Sir Atticus. Trying to hold himself back, but yet, given a chance, he's just going to go full bull in a china shop. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And I'm not sure now whether I have to go back and look at it, whether it was more driven by the role kind of complicating things, or if it was kind of, hey, this is organic, let's let that happen, that's fun. I can't tell at this moment, but there you go. And yeah, Sarah, I really appreciated Ernest's really, like, I don't have the words because I'm tired. But I mean, he's just so snarkily direct, and it's just his way, and it works for being this invisible person, but yet he's so desperate to want to be seen. And the only way for him to be seen is to just poke with his words, whether spoken or written. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of this character, and experience, like, what is his deal? What is his agenda? Can't wait for to push on that some more. And yeah, I mean, Jack, as always, I mean, love the narrations, love the descriptions, and again, like, these decisions, these player decisions are just amazing, and even from looking at it from a meta point of view and making the decision to retire the character because the playbook needs to be tweaked. So stars. Wishes, I can't wait to see what Jack's going to come up with for his next character. God help us. I can't wait to see like Chaotic's reaction when he finds out what happened this session. And looking forward to bringing out the next threat, because it's a new day phase next time, so that'll be fun. I'm going to take this offline, but I mean, again, our schedule for the next couple of weeks is going to be a little bit weird because of the gaming event, and as well as May 5th being a no play day anyway, so we'll work it out. And didn't know if there was anything else that anybody had. Yes.
I have stars.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry.
You're tired. I'll star and wish it up real quick, and then
No.
get the
I mean,
heck
like,
outta here.
please. I mean, like, I'm so apologetic. It's like, for some reason, it's like, I thought you thought you went already. God, I'm so dumb.
I chime in occasionally on stars and wishes, and it can be misleading. I've gotten
Okay.
Jason on that a couple of times.
Oh God.
Okay, so Mike, star for you as a player. You yes and for Mads so much. It's always yes, please, sir, can I have some more? With it, like a perfect example of that is the apothecary of like, yeah, I'm gonna dip my finger in a bunch of these and see what the fuck happens. That's cool with you, Mads, right? You want to do that to me, Mads, don't you? Like, that sort of energy from a player is always electric, right? And so I just a star for you personally. For Atticus, man, I'm still not caught up on season 1, right? So I'm learning this character real time in addition to also watching season 1. And then there's going to be this nexus, which I as a player am finding really echoey because of your being thrown into the past, right? Like there's this who you are and who you've become back and forth that I think is going to be really fun to see as like a wish. But also, he's not acting as if he has the same care and thought for his current time and space. You really have, as a player, flashed back to I'm more bloodlusty than I ever have been. I am more aggressive than I ever have been. I am more foolish than I ever have been. And so all of that momentum is going to be a lot of fun to see you just like come butt up against a wall, and you being able to just like fuck up a plan with your violence today. Super excellent. Like, I guess Ernest was hoping for some magical influences and some like behind the scenes nonsense, but just getting to like essentially take to my smelling salts and then just watch all of this, like whatever the Victorian equivalent of popcorn is, that is what Ernest was doing this entire
You were in the splash zone of the violence. Like, you got
100% was. I have more color on the painted face, right?
There could be that scene, like as you're like, wiping the splatter of blood, off of your face, but then it turns out to look like really good rouge. Oh boy.
Yes. So while we talked a little bit about the meta decision, I like to take a step back, and from a Hargrave House perspective, while it's only episode 3 for us, Finn has been with Hargrave House and doing these things. And so this outro, while might feel really early for us as players, as characters, I feel like this is precisely as timely and as Fae-oriented as it could have possibly been. And so just a star to Jack having that pinpoint accuracy for what tells the best story, but then also allows them to go back and do some rewrites. Like, that is what we try to do constantly, is balance our narrative as players and as characters, and that really was pitch perfect. Wishes, I too am looking forward to exploring this sassy, biting attention whore of an invisible man that I've created. There is definitely more depth, but at the moment, I think that it is the attention-seeking invisible man that really is driving a lot of my character development. And that's something that I just do as a player, is I like to create a character that has that, like, there is a place and then there's the juxtaposition, and that just drives everybody forward. So I am also looking forward to Sir Atticus exploring this new and or possibly old new relationship. I have a secret wish that Mads accidentally turns Atticus into a motherfucker. Like, just me personally, like how many, like how far removed we are from this character. Maybe it's a relative. And then Mads stars for this vampire, bloody, flower dripping Queen of Hearts sort of vibe that this, like, oh, this mastermind's just going to get better and better. And I am really looking forward to that.
She is so rich with stuff. I mean, like, I am worried about like trying to fit everything in, just like, because of the density of what you guys are doing with just the threats that you have so far. And of course, we're going to get more until we get 3 active ones, and then you're going to juggle and all this kind of stuff. And I will say, I mean, like, I agree with your with what you said, Sarah, about like, Jack as picking a good time for Finn to step out, because again, episode 3 for us, but it seems like from being in media race from the very beginning of our season 2, that he could have been there for like, at least a year or so, or more. And yeah, I mean, like, now that we are saying goodbye to a character who has been with the group for however much time is needed and necessary. So no,
I
I
mean,
think
it's
it's
the whole
awesome.
point of between in general, right? Like,
Yeah.
all we're trying to do is tell the best end to these characters once they reach it. And it just happened to be now.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. And I can just appreciate from, again, the meta point of view of like, there is care in the writing. I mean, people interpret the playbook so differently. And it's like, just for the fact, I mean, that, this push pull, what true push or what true pull is there to go to the other side when faced with something that is so very much on like the imbalance of it. And I don't consider that very often. I mean, like, I just play my character like, whatever path it takes, and then it just goes from there. And it's like, I just love star for the consideration of like, what will be useful to all who play this playbook, to be able to have that kind of idea of, well, what impetus is there, like how do they make their decisions? I love it. I mean, it's just amazing. Great. Yeah. So great writer, great player. I mean, and we are all great writers and players of our own story, making these decisions that drive us. So yeah, I mean, again, taking offline to figure out like, what's going on in the next few weeks because of all the gaming event confusion, or because people aren't here. And then we will resume when we resume. But it's always a pleasure playing with you. Yes.
There is one thing that might be a good like ending point.
Yeah.
We resolved the threat.
Yeah.
I'm the legacy.
Yeah.
I have to mark X's and O's.
Oh, yes.
So
oh,
did we resolve the threat with violence or peacefully?
I think that's a personal question for Atticus. I don't think that we as hunters, as a collective, we can
I
do
honestly
that.
can't. I mean, like, I know I should call it as the keeper, but to be honest, I mean,
I'm fine marking an X if
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to balance it out. Sarah, in case you don't know, I'm currently 6-4 in favor of peaceful resolutions from last season. So yeah,
The hunter in my game has like 4 violent versus like 10 peaceful.
Oh.
It's very interesting. And it's a testament to how all these playbooks play out as an individual, and how every game is what we make of it, and why it's so much fun to play.
It is
Yep.
very much so much fun to play and infinitely playable. I mean, like, going through these threats myself, or, now running them with a couple of groups, it's like, one, it's confusing, but 2, it's a great challenge. And it's so interesting to see how different they turn out. It's like, oh my God. So I'm excited about that. That's, that's just me. And stars for everyone. Like not only Stars and Suns, but for the other campaigns as well, and for everybody else's campaign that are playing this outside in their own groups, in their own way. I just love this game. Can't wait to, see it out in the great wide world, in a wider world. So yeah. If there's nothing else, we'll take it offline for next time we meet. And happy gaming for, the in-between. All right. See you guys next time.
see ya.
Bye.